Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday. It's August 12th. It is 2024. We have an 8-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's slate. Joined by TJ, Mr. Cougher. I mute everybody's mic, and he unmuted himself and coughed on air. So, what's up, TJ? Happy Sunday night.
That's my bad. I didn't even realize you muted it, and so I was making sure I muted myself and didn't realize I unmuted. That's embarrassing. I apologize, everybody. Bad start, but we're gonna recover. We're gonna give you some good picks. We're gonna make sure we make up for it. I definitely thought I was muting myself for that.
Yeah, rookie mistake. It's okay. It's his first time. Welcome to the podcast. So what's up, chat? Hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday night. And they're telling you in chat it's in honor of Will. So the opposite mute. So there you go. And then they're also saying that you had a really good draft on Agents of Fandom. So sounds like a good time here on Sunday night. So there you go. We got baseball. We're back. I'm back. I take the weekends off of baseball. So it's always like me saying, "Hey, I'm back." But I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. And let's jump in and talk baseball. We got 8 games. We start with my Red Sox. Rangers and Red Sox, 9.5 total. Red Sox, a 132 favorite. Tyler Mahle against Brian Bayo. Any interest here in Tyler Mahle?
What did Mahle do in his first start back here? He made it 5 innings, went 76 pitches. I still don't really think so. I mean, he's super cheap, so it makes me want to have some interest. But in Boston, tough matchup. It does worry me. I think he is somewhat interesting just because of the price, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I mean, tough matchup. Red Sox, a really tough team against right-handed pitching. They can go very left-handed. I think we're kind of waiting to see what to expect from Mahle just in general right now. Like his strikeout and whiff rate was really low. His swinging strike rate was really, really low. So I mean, we saw him a little bit last year. He had good strikeout stuff. I'm going to take the wait and see approach. His AAA starts weren't fantastic either. So tough matchup against the Red Sox. I think it's an easy fade spot for me. Brian Bayo coming back from the paternity list really didn't miss much. Maybe a bullpen session. So not expecting too much craziness here. Extra day of rest. He is pitching on 6 days instead of 5 days. But they've done that a lot with him down the stretch. Any interest here in Bayo against Texas?
No, not really. I like taking Bayo when he gets a good matchup. I feel like he's fairly reliable in those situations. But Texas is a pretty tough team to go against. He's home in Boston, which isn't great for pitchers. So probably no Bayo for me in this spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like the spot. I think that it's a pretty tough spot overall. Texas, another team that doesn't really strike out against right-handed pitching. Like Seager's, I think at 13%. Simeon's at 13%. I think they only have 1 or 2 guys over the 22% mark. So I think it's a tough spot overall. And I mean, when Bayo struggled, it's been lefties, and I mean they're going to have some left-handed power in this lineup here. Let's talk about the Texas bats. Obviously, Corey Seager, fantastic spot for him in Fenway against Bayo. What do you like here for Texas?
Yeah, mostly those lefties that you just talked about. Corey Seager is still too cheap at 5,400. He should probably be above 6K. He had a slow start to the year, and then it's just been incredible since. And then I like the full stack as well because these guys aren't very expensive. I can get Smith at 3,800, Low at 3,400, Heim if he's in there at 3K, and if not, it's an even cheaper option. Tavares is 2,300 at the bottom of the order. This team's super cheap, much cheaper than they've been all season long. So I think I want to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, the Texas stack very much in play. I think that this is one of those spots you're definitely going to load up on Texas bats. And I think Boston bats as well. I think this is a really good spot for the Red Sox as well.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm looking forward to targeting both spots in this game. Devers had a day off last game, and that made me very interested in Brown, and he had a very good game until he kind of just stayed in there a little bit too long and fell apart a little bit. But I feel like I like them maybe a little bit more as a mini stack than a full stack. They're not quite as cheap as Texas is, but I do still like them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like Boston. I like the full stack. Obviously, like you look at this lineup and Duran, Valdez, Abreu, Devers all offer some upside with these left-handed hitters. I wouldn't be shocked. I guess they did say Cassis won't be back. I thought he's getting really, really close. So, like, that would have been another bump to the lineup. But it sounds like they're going to give him another few days in AAA. All right, we got Kansas City at Minnesota, 8 total in this one. Minnesota 156 favorites. Pablo Lopez, Brady Singer. Any interest here in Brady Singer against Minnesota?
Honestly, this is kind of not just no, I don't have any interest in Brady Singer, but this is kind of just like a game that I want to just cross off. Like it's good pitching against good bats, and I don't really have anything I want to do with it.
Yeah, it's really tough to play random pitchers against Minnesota. And like, you don't typically think that. This is a team that we've picked on a lot. Not even like this year, but just in general over the last few years. But I mean, they're hitting right-handed pitching really well. Brady Singer, his strikeout rate has really dipped down here over the last month. It's down 3%, almost 4%. His WOBA has climbed up almost 50 points. He's really been struggling getting both sides of the plate out. So yeah, I mean, Minnesota, a lot of good hitters at the top of this lineup. Lewis being back too, Buxton being healthy, Wallner in the lineup. Like, I just not a team I want to pick on right now. Pablo Lopez on the other side. Any interest in Lopez against Kansas City?
No, not really. There's just pitchers in that range I like quite a bit better, and I've never gotten Lopez right once this season. Actually, that's not true. I have successfully faded him when he has played poorly, but I've never played him when he's done well this year, and I don't think I'm going to try against Kansas City.
Caught a yawn. Sorry.
I was gonna try and keep bantering, but then I didn't notice until after my sentence was done, and I was like, "What could I possibly say in this time frame?" And I just couldn't get there.
Yeah, I mean, NASCAR's back, again. So my like 3 or 4 hours of sleep on a Sunday is back. So there'll be a few yawns on the show today for sure. Pablo Lopez 9,200 pitching on the slate is really interesting because I mean we have a very chalky heel who we're going to talk about in the next game. He's like a 300 favorite against the White Sox. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see myself getting to Lopez. His strikeout rate has been okay, but he's had some decent strikeout matchups recently. So I just think this is a spot I'll stay away from Lopez. And kind of like what you were talking about too, this game as a whole, like I don't necessarily love the Kansas City bats in this spot. Like Lopez is a good enough pitcher where I don't see myself paying the pricing for Kansas City in this spot.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. No Kansas City for me.
Any interest in the Minnesota bats?
More than Kansas City. I think that like definitely more as a mini stack, something like a Lewis, Buxton, Wallner. But the thing is you want to go with lefties more than righties against Singer. And so maybe Larnack, maybe Kepler, but Wallner's the one I like the best. And it gets tough to mini stack them when most of the guys I want to play are all in the outfield. And then guys like Castro at 4,700 is just a little bit more than I like paying for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to play Minnesota, you just stack them. Not a guy I typically want to stack against in Singer, but like I think that this team has upside overall. He's allowed 1 home run or 2 home runs in his last 9 starts, and both of those were in the same game against Boston in Fenway. So over his last 9 games, there's only been one game that he's allowed a home run in. Not typically a guy I want to stack against. I just think that there's better spots, like that Texas-Boston game, first game we started with. Like, I would play all those bats over any of the bats in this game first. So, Yankees at White Sox, 8.5 total. I already said it. Yankees a 295 favorite. Luis Hill against Kai Busch. Really NASCAR themed here with, Kyle Busch. He was on my winning lineup tonight. I saw chat talking about it.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah. It's always nice coming back from like a 2-week break and hitting tournament. That's always nice. Help pay for some betting losses that happened in the last few laps. Anyway, let's talk about Hill. I mean, listen, there's nothing really bad to say about him. He's been pitching a lot better over the last month and a half after going through a little dry spell there, and he's facing the worst team in baseball. I mean, this is just one of those spots where you're playing him. I mean, outside of ownership, you're playing him.
Yeah, best pitcher on the slate today from a raw point standpoint, and honestly, the way he's priced, probably even a point per dollar standpoint as well. He should be up over 10K in this spot. I guess maybe not raw points. Maybe you want to put Sale above him for raw points, but for his price, Heel definitely the top pitcher on the slate.
Busch on the other side, we saw him come up and start against Oakland last time out. Lefty doesn't show much promise. Not a huge prospect. Easy fade for me.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely love the Yankees bats here. I think that this is a fantastic spot to load up on the Yankees bats. Like, he really wasn't missing bats against Oakland, and now he's facing a Yankees team with a lot of power on both sides of the plate.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Yankees are probably the top stack on the slate without looking at implied team totals and projections the night before. I think the Yankees definitely stand out to me as the top stack on the slate. And so load up the Aaron Judge, load up the Soto, Torres, like everybody. But Judge at 6,900, I think he's going to be the biggest priority for me in terms of spend ups on the slate over the Otanis, over the Wits, etc.
Yeah, Yankees top end stack for sure. I have zero interest in the White Sox. Any interest in the White Sox at all?
Nope.
Like, if you're playing like 90% heel, would you play any White Sox stacks to like hedge?
That is not a bad idea. Like,
right, if you're playing,
if you did that with Miami and Cease today, you probably did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're playing like 150 and you're playing like 75% of him, and I said 90, but if you're playing like 75%, I don't think it's bad in like a 150 to like run out 5% White Sox stacks.
Well, I'll do that.
It's likely not going to work.
Yeah, I'll do that too sometimes where I'll make a rule that I'll put my exposure to like 90 to 95% heel is my preferred exposure, and then I'll go to the group section in lineup HQ and just say every lineup that doesn't have heel, I want at least 3 White Sox in it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not even like it's a lot of lineups. It's just you're hedging a little bit. And like, baseball is a sport I love to hedge. I mean, I've talked about this for years and years and years. Don't you see the gray in my beard? So I think that this is a spot you could do it. And like, I'd say maybe 1 out of 500 times it doesn't work out. But you never know. Like, he could just be off. We've seen him off before. He's a young pitcher. Dodgers and Brewers, 8 total pick'em game. Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Peralta. Let's talk Clayton Kershaw first. We really haven't seen a dominant Clayton Kershaw yet. I think he pitched okay. I watched some of the game against Philadelphia the other night. I think he pitched okay. He doesn't look dominant yet. Any interest here against Milwaukee?
7,700 is kind of the price tag where you start looking at him and going, dang, like maybe I can play this guy, but still not yet for me. I need to see a little bit more to prove to me that he's not washed. He's not getting any more than 80, 81, 82, 83 pitches. So I'm going to take the wait and see approach a little bit longer here for Kershaw. See if he can get back to form. If he could just go one game where he gets like 86 pitches, but isn't 87, 88, but he's not great. And so that price comes down a little bit more. Maybe next time I take a shot on him, but I don't think I do here.
Yeah, I mean, the price is nice. A lot of right-handed power in this lineup, and if he's not really throwing the ball by anybody yet, it's really hard for me to like get excited about playing Kershaw. And like Kershaw 5 years ago at this price point would have been an auto lock against any team. So like I get it, and it's like you're trying to get past like Cy Young, Clayton Kershaw. He's getting towards the end of his career. He's really not missing a lot of bats. So do I think Kershaw eventually gets back to maybe like a 25% K rate? Probably not. I think he probably gets back to closer to like 22, 23%. And I mean, he's still going to be a guy you rely on in the playoffs if you're the Dodgers because the experience and the talent is just incredible. But I think this is a spot I stay away. Any interest here in Freddie Peralta on the other side?
In MME, I think I'm going to keep him in the pool just because Freddie Peralta is sort of a guy that it doesn't matter who he's playing. If he's on, he's lights out. If he's off, he's terrible. It doesn't really seem to matter to him if it's a good matchup or if it's a tough matchup. It's just where he's at that day. So I don't really...
I was just going to quickly ask you, does it change your mind at all that Mookie Betts is going to get activated for this game?
No Freddie Peralta for me in this spot.
No, and like
for real, that's literally enough of a difference to me to go like, okay, no point in taking a shot.
Right, it's going from like one of Paez, Kiki Hernandez, Kiermaier to like Mookie Betts. I mean, like it's a huge upgrade to the lineup overall because it gives Ohtani like protection, it gives Freeman and Hernandez more protection, and like now you're getting through like 5 or 6 really tough bats instead of like 4 or 5. So my initial thought was to leave Freddie Peralta in my player pool as well. And then I read the report before we got on the podcast that like Mookie's supposed to get activated for this game. And it was just like, that might be enough for me not to play Freddie Peralta at 9,300. If you're playing 150 and you're playing a top heavy tournament and you leave like Freddie Peralta in your player pool, I wouldn't talk you out of it. I just think the lineup becomes a lot better. I mean, Mookie Betts is a 200 ISO, 400 WOBA guy with a 11% K rate where you could add up Kiki Hernandez, Paez, and Kiermaier, and they're not even close to those numbers. So it's a huge upgrade to the lineup. And I just wanted to point that out and get your thoughts with Mookie coming back and with him being in the lineup here. Assuming if Mookie's not in the lineup, I think I leave him in my player pool. I mean, I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Exact same page.
One guy makes such a he does when he's Mookie Betts.
When he's Mookie Betts, yeah. When he's Mookie Betts.
Good job, Red Sox.
Even if that was like, hey, but Shohei Ohtani's been out and he's going to be back. Does that change your mind? That wouldn't as much as Mookie Betts, just because Shohei will still strike out. Like Shohei, yeah, he might have a home run, but he's still going to strike out. Betts just with his contact abilities, the lack of strikeouts, and the power to mix into it, he like you said, he does so much to the rest of the lineup.
All right. Dodgers bats. Peralta's a good pitcher. Any interest in the Dodgers against him?
Yes, I do. Basically for the same reason that I had interest in him before I realized Betts was going to be back. Just because when he's on, they're probably not going to touch him. But if he's off, he's genuinely terrible. And so the Dodgers are a good enough team that if he is off, they're going to capitalize. They're going to make him pay. And so I will be getting to some Dodgers in this spot.
Yeah, they're such a really good offense with a ton of ceiling. Adding Mookie Betts is going to help the lineup overall. So it really comes down to ownership for me. If the Dodgers are going to be low owned, I'll definitely have some exposure. I kind of like the Brewers too, if they're going to be low owned, because they do have a lot of power in this lineup against left-handed pitching. Gary Sanchez at catcher, Rhys Hoskins, Joey Ortiz, Contreras at catcher, like both catchers, a lot of power. So I kind of want to see what the lineup looks like here for Milwaukee. I don't think I'd stack, but I could see myself chasing some home runs.
Yeah, I like that call too.
All right. West Coast, Toronto at LA, taking on the Angels. Bowden Francis. Me and Dean did some homework on Bowden Francis. He is from Tallahassee, so Coach Bowden, represent. You got a pitcher in the bigs named after you. Davis Daniel, go Gators, by the way. I don't want anybody to mistake the thought of Tallahassee with me not being a huge Gator. So there's that. 9.5 total pick'em game. Any interest here in Bowden Francis and the mustache?
I mean, he looked pretty darn good last game when he was just striking everybody out for Baltimore. I don't love that he doesn't have a very high pitch count, but that last game was the first game in the majors this season. He's gone up over 80 pitches. Maybe he can extend that a little bit here. The Angels are a lineup I like targeting with right-handed pitching. And so at only 5,800, I do think he's very much in play as an SP2.
Kind of what I was thinking too. He's really cheap. And the fact that like his pitch count is up over 80, it was up over 75 the start before the Yankee like one out inning or whatever it was, where he came out and threw in it half an inning or something. I don't remember. So and like you said, the Angels are definitely a team you could pick on with right-handed pitching. So I like the price point in a 20 entry max. I'm going to leave Bowden Francis and his mustache in my player pool today. The other side of this game, Davis Daniel. I mean, he had one really outstanding outing against Detroit, but that's Detroit. Toronto is a much tougher team. I think this is an easy stay away spot for me.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Even though Toronto has been incredibly disappointing from a real life perspective, they have literally two guys on the roster who strike out right now. So that's going to be, I don't ever play pitchers against them.
Yep. Easy stay away. Any interest in the Toronto Bats?
I think so. Like I said, they don't really strike out a lot, so it's so much dependent on BABIP for them. They were terrible to start the year, but they've been playing some really good baseball recently, at least from a fantasy perspective. Vladimir Guerrero has been probably a top 5 hitter in baseball for the last month or two here. Varsho has been getting a great spot batting second. Kirk is cheap and batting cleanup lately. Horowitz will probably be at near the top of the lineup against against the righty. They're cheap, so I will be taking some shots.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely take some shots on Toronto. Davis Daniel has been very hittable in general here, so I will say like he has been a lot worse recently against lefties. So like Varsho, Horowitz would be like the two I'm looking at. Lufido, I think, is another one you could potentially look at. But I mean, if you're playing like 2 or 3 Toronto bats, throw Vlad in there. Don't do that. But yeah, like Gerg said in chat, Toronto's gutless. Any interest here in the Angels?
They haven't been for a couple months though. You need more recency bias in the gutless rankings. You gotta update them every now and then.
Any interest in the Angels bets?
I feel like I should want to take Angels bats against Francis, but they're like kind of expensive, especially near the top, and they're not that good. So I would probably want to just go with like some Chanuel with maybe some Calhoun or Moniak as opposed to a full stack here.
All right, moving on. We're going to Arizona, Colorado at Arizona. In this one, it's Bradley Baylock against Brandon Fiat. 8.5 total. I'm seeing Cal Quantrill in some places too. Well, I guess we'll talk about that in a second. Arizona is a 225 favorite. I don't think it really matters who's going to pitch here, whether it be Quantrill or Baylock. I'm not playing either one of them. That's simple enough for me.
If Blalock, however you say his name, Blaylock, if he is a starter and not just an opener and is the starting pitcher, I will be playing him because I always play a 4K pitcher. I don't care who they're against. I don't care who they are. If they can go more than 70 pitches and they're 4K, I will be playing them.
I think it's going to be a full-on bullpen game. I just read that Quantrill will not start, so he's dealing with some forearm issues. It looks like it's going to be a full-on bullpen game for Colorado. Any interest here in Fiat against Colorado?
Yeah, I'll play some fat in this spot, Colorado, outside of Coors, one of the worst offenses in baseball. I'm all aboard the Fott train.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really solid spot. I don't think that he is a excellent pitcher by any means, but I think this is a good spot. The Rockies definitely a team you can pick on just in general. And I mean, he's okay. Again, like he's not an awful pitcher, average strikeout guy. He's been getting touched up recently a little bit more, but he faced Cleveland and pitched well. I like this. I like this spot. He had Pittsburgh back-to-back starts, which I hate as pitchers. So I think Fott is fine. Any interest
so much for him depends on the lineup too. Like the more righties in that lineup, the more I like him. 28% strikeout rate to righties versus 17 to lefties. So more righties in that lineup, the more I want to fire him up.
Which we have no idea with the Rockies because their lineup changes. I think that he'll end up seeing probably 5 lefties and 4 righties, but I mean, it's not like the lefties are any good. Any interest here in the Arizona bats? Did we talk about the Rockies bats?
Well, we don't have interest in the Rockies bats anyways, so Arizona bats, yes, absolutely. But it really is going to depend on their lineup because, like, they're just kind of out of nowhere getting really, really injured. Carroll took the day off yesterday, but Marte got hurt 2 games ago. Gurriel left last game. Walker and Moreno are on the injured list, so it'll probably lead to us for a near minimum price Del Castillo at catcher position. He's got 7 hits in his 3 games in the major leagues so far. So maybe looking like a cash game option, depending on the lineup, because of like if Marte's out, if Gurriel's out, we're going to be getting an insanely cheap Arizona lineup.
Yeah, I like Arizona. Like you mentioned, with Marte banged up, Gurriel banged up, the overall stack could be really cheap today. So yeah, and one thing really quick that I will mention about the Rockies is like I do from time to time leave like Toglia in my player pool. The guy, he has power, and I don't mind him as a one-off. So that's like the only guy, him and McMahon, but those are the 2 guys that I would play. But I really like the Arizona stack today. I think that they're very much in play on this slate. Pittsburgh at San Diego, 8 total. Musgrove, Gonzalez, Padres, a 160 favorite. Any interest here in Gonzalez?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Yeah, low strikeout matchup against San Diego. Low strikeout, below average strikeout pitcher. Easy stay away spot. Joe Musgrove. I mean, here we go. Coming back. Only 43 pitches in his rehab start. I don't expect him to pitch deep into this game, and I think that's the biggest issue for me on Joe Musgrove.
Yeah, big no on Musgrove for me in the spot.
The only thing I will say, like if they do come out and they say like he's going to throw 80 pitches, that is a little bit more tempting. 80 pitches in this spot against the Pittsburgh team in San Diego, I would probably play a little Musgrove, but I just don't think he's going to. I think he's going to be in the 60 to 65 range here after his rehab start was so low. And it was an arm or elbow injury for him, so I think they're going to be pretty careful. Any interest in the Pittsburgh bats?
Not really. Like I'm playing 150 lineups like I always do, so I'm probably going to keep them in the pool just because they, on random days, seem to have some upside because I guess that's baseball, but I don't like them. Yeah,
I mean, Cruz, Reynolds, sure. This is a terrible ballpark. Yeah.
Nice and cheap. Barth, if he is batting cleanup again, but like it doesn't feel great.
Padres bats. Any interest in the Padres?
That feels a lot better. Padres feel a lot better today than Pittsburgh does. Get a little Manny Machado against the lefty. Always happy with that. Profar is just disgustingly expensive. It feels so weird seeing Jerks and Profar at that price, but honestly, all of them have gotten pretty aggressively priced up lately. This entire team is a lot more expensive than even they were just yesterday. Kim is probably my favorite, but it sucks that he only has shortstop eligibility now, and even he isn't very cheap. Typically still batting near the bottom. So from a raw points perspective, I like them, but I don't know how easy they're going to be to stack.
Yeah. I don't mind them. It really ownership is definitely something to kind of look at here. Like again, Gonzalez is definitely a pitcher you feel pretty comfortable picking on because he just has such a low strikeout rate. I mean, I like Profar a lot. I like Machado a lot. Kim is another guy that has pop against left-handed pitching. The catcher Higgs, like if he's in there, he has pop. There was one more player that I was looking at pre-show. Yeah, I don't know. So, it was Rosario, but I don't think he's up with the big league team right now. So that doesn't help us. All right, we finish it out with the pitching duel we've been waiting to talk about. We have Atlanta at San Francisco. This game has a 6.5 total. It's a pick'em game. It's Sale and Snell facing off two powerful lefties. Chris Sale having a fantastic season. He's been getting touched up a little bit more recently, but had to face Milwaukee like back-to-back starts. He just continues to strike people out. He's put up 30 fantasy points against this team about a month ago. Like, what are we doing with Chris Sale today?
Yeah, I think he is probably my second favorite pitcher behind Luis Gil. I think from a raw point standpoint, he is the top pitcher on the slate with Gil number 2. I'll take the discount for Gil to be priority 1, but I'll pay up for both anywhere I can.
Yep, really like Sale. Obviously, I think he has a massive strikeout matchup here, so I like him. And Blake Snell, I mean, he has looked really good since the All-Star break, and love the ceiling here against an Atlanta team that strikes out with the best of them. I mean, this is just one of those spots where you're playing both of these pitchers. They're both in a really, really good spot.
I think my favorite, like, night before build would be Sale, Gil, and an Arizona stack because that lineup's probably going to be so cheap.
Any interest in the bats in this game?
No, absolutely none. Maybe Atlanta. I guess we didn't really talk about Snell.
I did talk about Snell, and you're like, oh, I really like Sale. I was like, hey, I'm talking about Snell.
Their names sound similar. That's my bad.
That's okay.
I'm not. I think you might have said Sale when you passed to me. Maybe not, but I'm going to pretend that it's not my fault, and I'm going to pretend that it's your fault.
That's fun. I'll take it.
9,300. Snell has just been absolutely killing it lately. He's been incredible. If he's pitching well, they let him go with a long leash. Atlanta's scary, but they also do have strikeouts. I think I would put him behind Gil and Sale for me, but I do still love him for tournaments. I think he's probably got the highest upside on the slate out of anybody. Maybe Gil a little more, but maybe not. In terms of bats, Atlanta against him, maybe just in case we get an old bad Snell popping out, but they're super expensive and it's in San Francisco. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, I will say, like, I think Snell has the highest ceiling on the slate. The Atlanta team, they strike out so much, and his strikeout stuff has been fantastic recently. So I think if you're going to play against Snell, you just stack against him and just hope that he has an off game because we know Blake Snell can have off games with the best of them. Soler getting a little revenge here, going back to the team that just moved him. Ozuna, Riley, all these guys hit left-handed pitching really well. It's a boom bust spot, but I really like Snell a lot, and I don't have a ton of interest in Atlanta. If I was going to play them, I'd stack them. Any interest in the Giants?
Nope.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, Chapman is 5,400 and Fitzgerald is 5,300. Like, those are the two guys that I've loved playing against left-handed pitching this year. I just don't think you can do it on this slate. All right, morning grind game. I feel like we flew through that slate. It wasn't on purpose. I just think it's a pretty straightforward slate, in my opinion, anyway.
Look, I told the people the analysis would be spot on after the early blunder.
Oh, there you go. You did. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
I will go with. Geez, it's ugly down there. Bowden Francis.
Yeah. Give me Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I think that is the other answer. Like, those might be the only two pitchers under 8K I play. And I don't want to play Kershaw. So maybe just Francis.
Yeah, I mean it's not like the pitching is overly expensive either. It's not like we're paying 211K guys. Snell is like 93. Like my favorite, you were talking about Sale and Heel. I like Snell's Hill or Heel at first glance, but it's still, I mean, I'll
The
definitely
reason I
make a
like
lineup.
the Sale version of it is just because, and I mean, pick two of Snell's Sale and Heel for it. But the reason I like the Sale version is just because it's rare you can find an offense like Arizona and be able to fit the two super expensive pitchers like that. And so it just feels like a unique experience, like a unique shot.
Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
Freddie Peralta.
Oh, okay. I like it. I'm going to go Singer against Minnesota. Over 4,000 to hit a home run. Who is going yard today?
Let's say I'm putting my chips all in on Arizona. Let's say Jock Peterson.
Jock James. Give me Devers. Got the day off on Sunday, like you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, give me my boy Devers to hit a home run here against Tyler Mahle. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
Sticking with my Diamondbacks, Jake McCarthy.
Yeah, don't hate that. I am going to go to your Blue Jays and go Horwitz. I like his price point today and like the fact that you can kind of play him at second base. So give me Horwitz. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who's scoring some runs today?
Arizona Diamondbacks.
I'm shocked.
Correct answer is the Yankees as the top option, but I'm saying the Diamondbacks are doing it.
I'm shocked. Yeah, I mean the correct answer on the home run is Aaron Judge too, but
yeah,
we're not going to sit here and just tell everybody what they already know. My stack to score 6 or more. Yeah, I mean, give me the Red Sox. I'm going to take my Sox here. I really like the Red Sox against Tyler Mahle today. Any player props or pick'em plays that you like here?
No, nothing night before, but I am doing something a little bit different. I had been writing some Prize Picks articles. I am now writing underdog articles for pick'em stuff. So check that out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to have some underdog articles coming.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, player props is tough. There wasn't a ton of stuff up yet when I was checking earlier, and I'm checking again quickly. Yeah, like even like heel strikeout prop seems really high. You know what? Give me Kai Busch under 4.5 strikeouts at -140. Is mine today. New York's a low strikeout team, and he really struggled with command against Oakland. I think he's going to have a rough outing here against the Yankees. So under 4.5 strikeouts, -140 on BetMGM for Kai Busch. Any other bets that you like on the slate?
Nope, that about covers it.
All right, we're going to go to the 3-pick parlay for the morning grind. Parlay, it's back. We missed it on Friday, I think by 1 spot. I think it was Philadelphia, right? If I remember, chat, tell me. I think it was Philadelphia. But yeah, I'm quickly putting it in to get the odds. So, all right, 3-pick parlay, morning grind style. We are going. This one is actually it's a plus 616 3-pick parlay today. So getting a little juicy here. Love these. Over 9.5 runs in Boston and the Texas game. Yankees over 5.5 total runs. Absolutely love the Yankees today. And under 6.5 runs in the Braves Giants game. That is the 3-pick parlay for Monday, August 12th, plus 616 on the Hard Rock app. Hope everyone has a fantastic Monday. We're back tomorrow talking baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.